ribbon-winning Washington staff to lead us in the pledge tonight.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, you guys sound like you've done that before. Welcome to the meeting tonight. We appreciate your attendance. First item is visitors, delegations, and correspondence. Now is the appropriate time for visitors in the audience to be recognized and speak on items both on the agenda, general concerns to the patrons of the district. There'll be a limit of 3 minutes for individuals, 5 for group spokesperson. No speaker shall speak more than twice on any issue. The board is legally obligated to maintain confidentiality concerning district personnel. Therefore, matters concerning district personnel will not be discussed. Is there anybody like to speak to us tonight? There being none, we'll move on. Thank you. Next, recognition of the Washington Elementary School. Speaking of the Blue Ribbon Award winners, Anne Marie, congratulations to you and your staff and all the kids and the parents. And welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. I am so proud and honored to be here tonight to share with you the 2022 Blue Ribbon School of Washington Elementary. We are one of 2 schools in the state of Wyoming to receive this award. So let's give them a big round of applause. I am so proud of them. We found out a few weeks ago that we had received this award, and we earned the award on exemplary high-performing schools in the state of Wyoming. And we know these past few years have definitely brought about some unique challenges that we have never encountered. And I couldn't be more proud and tell you that this group of staff, students, and parents have persevered through the past several years and continue to support our kids' growth, not only social, emotionally, but also on their academic aspects as well, under some pretty intense conditions. I talked to the staff about this, that this doesn't just happen by chance. This happens because of many years of coming together, working as a team, and that includes our amazing families behind the scenes as well. We can't do it without them. It includes them always focusing on the whole child. Relationships are the foundation of Washington Elementary, and I think every staff member can attribute to that. We also know that along with solid relationships, we're then able to deliver amazing instruction to meet the needs and respond to our students academically each and every day. And this group has risen to this challenge over the past several years, and just so excited and honored to be their principal and along for this amazing journey with this group of people. And just so proud of them, and knowing that their hard work has truly paid off. To have this honor at this national level is pretty amazing. So staff, you know how much I care about you and just think the world of you. And we're going to continue this amazing work. It doesn't end now.
Okay, I got 2 things for you.
Sure.
I understand there's going to be a senator in town next Wednesday.
Yes, and I don't even know. I met with my leadership team because I just found this out this afternoon, and some of my staff doesn't know this yet.
When you get the details, make sure you let us know.
I will send it out next Wednesday. Senator Barrasso will be joining us.
Yeah. Okay, good. And you just came back from where Senator Barrasso works.
I did. I just came back from DC with the National Distinguished Principals Ceremony, and another phenomenal experience, and got to meet and listen to the U.S. Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, speak, which was phenomenal. And as I visited with him and introduced myself, I said, I'll see you back here in a few weeks to celebrate our Blue Ribbon Award, which was pretty amazing. So yeah. A great honor and experience to represent Wyoming, Sweetwater too. And again, this amazing group of Washington Elementary staff, students, and their families that we love deeply.
I look forward to the celebration next Wednesday.
Sounds great.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Next item is recognition of Conference Boys Tennis Coach of the Year. Again, I might add, Mr. Beardsley, welcome.
Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. It's my pleasure tonight again to introduce our 4A South Conference Coach of the Year in tennis. a coach that's well respected by his peers. He's now a leader in the Wyoming Coaches Association for the sport of tennis, and just a hardworking, always wanting to get something done kind of guy. And we hear great things about him all the time. And I just want to introduce our 4A South Conference Coach of the Year for tennis, Mr. Harder. Who did bring us another state trophy as well this year. Good job, Coach.
Thank you, Chairman Core, for having me, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. I'd like to bring up our boys team to recognize them, because that's really why I'm up here tonight, is because of them. And that's who I want to recognize is my boys varsity team. So boys, come on up, and I'm going to introduce you and talk about your season a little bit. You can stand right up here or right over here, doesn't matter. There we go. All right. So our boys varsity team, 3-time conference champions, back to back to back. And that's amazing for our tennis program. I've never seen it done in our tennis program, and I've been with us for 20 plus years now as a player and as a coach. And to win it once is hard in conference and regionals. Like, you can be the conference champion, then be the regional champion. And they did both of those 3 times in a row. And that's pretty impressive. So I'd like to give them a round of applause for that. You know, before I talk about their season, I'd just like to thank Mr. Beasley and Ruth DeWick in the activities office. They do a lot for us. Mr. Gantz, Mr. Castilian, Mr. Heslop, they came down and watched our matches. That's super important to have administrators come down and watch matches. I know Mr. Behringer, I sent an email to him at the beginning of the season to invite all board members and faculty to come watch some tennis matches, because we had a really good team this year, and they're fun to watch. And it's nice to have their support. Obviously, Eric Pauly with the radio network did a lot for us and talked about it in the morning on the radio, and that was fun to listen to, and the Star and the Minor and Sweetwater Now and Y04 News. But these kids they're fun. They work hard. Let me talk about what they did. So this is 4A, 3A. In tennis, it's both. It's 16 teams. It's not designated into one versus the other. It's everybody all at once. And you have a 16-team tournament at state, and that's a lot of matches, a lot of teams. And they ended up 4th place, which is pretty impressive to get a trophy out of 16 teams to get a 4th place finish. I know that the boys were hoping for a little bit higher, and we had opportunities. Out of the 5 positions, 3 out of the 5 made the semifinals on that second day, and they were all against Jackson Hole, who was the eventual winner. We won 1 out of those 3. If we win all 3, it's a different story tonight. That's how big that day was for us. So we're really, we're right on the cusp, and it was fun. Our number 1 singles player, Braxton Cordova, he has been a multi-all-state recipient over the years, and he did a great job for us, winning 2 matches at state and a 4th place finish at regionals. Our number 2 singles player, Corbin, go ahead and raise your hands so they know who you are. He played 2 singles for us. He was a runner-up at regionals, and he got 3rd place at the state tournament. He won the consolation championship, and if he hadn't won the consolation championship, he wouldn't have got all state. And so there's a lot of pressure on that match. You win it, you're all state, you lose it, you're not. And you beat a kid he had lost to twice previously. And that's pretty cool to do, to go up against a kid you've already played twice in the last month and beat him that 3rd time for all state. So that was pretty cool. Our number 1 doubles team of Zach Friel, his partner Talon is not here tonight. I'm guessing he's probably working. They are regional champions, and they also won regionals last year too. And they're back-to-back regional champions. They were one of the teams that made the semifinals and fell to Jackson in a tough, tight match. And they had a great season. You only lose a couple matches and it's to the same people. And they did so good to get that far. David Ross and Chris Wilson, our number 2 doubles team, they made the state championship. They won regionals, made the state championship, had opportunities in the state championship, and came up a little bit short, but state runner-up, still pretty dang good to get all state. And, our boys team record went 13-1. We played 14 teams in the state, and there's only 15 other teams. There's only one team we didn't get to play, and we'd beaten all the other teams that beat them. And so going 13-1 is pretty impressive. It's a testament to how hard they work. And just a great season for our boys. Our number 3 doubles team is not here. Theron Archibald and Michael Nilsson, they also did a pretty good job making it to the regional championship and then winning 2 and losing 2 at state. But just recognize these boys and their hard work. I appreciate you allowing us to come talk to you about our season. Mr. Core, as always, I've got your stat sheet. So I'll give this to you so you can take a look at it. And one last thing I forgot to bring up. We started this tradition a couple of years ago, and it's something that Green River used to do. It's these all-state statuettes. They're pretty cool. And so if you win state, I get their picture, I get them made into statuettes, and we put them in our trophy case at the high school for them to see forever. And I also get them one. So they get one and I keep one. And 3 of these gentlemen, Corbin Arnell, David Ross, and Chris Wilson, are receiving these this year. So it's a pretty cool tradition. I hope other teams maybe pick it back up again. It's something Green River used to do. And there's quite a few of them still up in the activities office. So thank you for having me tonight. Sorry for me being long-winded, but it's nice to talk about these kids once in a while.
All right. Outstanding job. Good job, guys. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good job. Next item is recognition of the All-State golfers. Tony?
Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome Coach Salas up here to introduce our outstanding golfers for this season. Thank you.
Welcome, Danielle.
Coach Eric is sorry she couldn't be here tonight. She is under the weather. That back to school germ spread. This year we had 2 all-conference recipients, and I'm going to have them come up here, Riker Mealy and Isabel Salas. And then Isabel was our lone all-state recipient, but I'm going to talk about them individually for a minute. Riker has been with us since he was a freshman. And if you know anything about golf, it's really hard sport to just pick up and learn. It's complicated, it's difficult, it's long. Golf is a mental sport. You're not just on a court for a little bit. You're playing with opponents that might not like you for 6 and 7 hours. High school golf rounds can get intense. When Riker was a freshman, is when Eddie and I actually started helping to coach. And we really pushed that year for Coach Baker and Coach Air to take him to state because many of our kids weren't going because of homecoming. So Riker got the chance to go to state, and his first year at state, he shot a 138, 142, pretty high scores. So this is a kid who did that, and now he's receiving his all conference honors for the second time. Out of 3 out of our 4 regular season tournaments, Riker medaled in the top 10. And so at golf tournaments, they always medal the top 10 boys and top 10 girls. And then this was his best finish at state. It's not where he wanted to finish, but it was his best finish. We haven't had a boy do that since the early 2000s. Our boys team, Riker has led our boys team. He got them to play all summer. Our boys team had the lowest average they've had since 1986. To put that in context, that was the year our head coach was born. So when I'm really big on stats, and when I was looking that up, I was pretty proud of these boys. So they had their lowest team average since 1986. So Riker went from a kid shooting in the high 100s to a kid that's being recruited by several junior college programs right now. And we are confident that he probably will get one of those scholarships and take it and continue his golf career. I'm hoping for a college here in Wyoming that's recruiting him, because it would be nice for a Wyoming kiddo to stick around. But we're really proud of your hard work, and your second year consecutive for all conference is a pretty big deal. Good job, Riker. This next kid, it's a little awkward for me to talk about because she happens to be mine. This is Isabel's third time as an all-conference golfer, third time as an all-state golfer. In our regular season, she went undefeated in every tournament she played in. She took first place. At every tournament she played in, she had the lowest round period, and that is out of the boys and the girls. She was consistently shooting in the 70s. She never went into the 80s until the second day of state. But if you were there, you'd know why. It was pretty crazy there in Buffalo. But so she beat the boys and the girls. She medaled first in all her tournaments, and she didn't even get to play in all of them because we have a rule where they can only play in 10 events leading up to state. And Isabel had actually qualified to play at the Utah Women's Open on our first 2 days of practice. So she had a pretty good reason for missing that one tournament. But Isabel, super accomplished golfer. This is so weird because I'm her mom. But she is going into her senior season next year, being recruited by about 9 different D1 and D2 programs. Her and Riker both are captains, really great captains, both of them. And our girls team, very young. The other 2 girls that were on our girls team this year were first-time varsity golfers. They finished 7th at state. Both of the other 2 girls, Taylor Jenny and Miley Mealy, shot their tournament lows at state, which was a really big deal. So we finished much better as a girls team. One of our girls team was injured. She couldn't play. So the odds were kind of against us, but they did pretty good. And I think next year the girls are going to finish even better. Our boys as a team also, this is worth mentioning, consistently finished in 3rd or 4th place in our regular season. Best finishes for them since the early 2000s. So I guess I'm just going to be done because it's really weird to talk about your own kiddo, but they're good kids, good program, work hard. Golf is a hard season. It's fast and furious. The kids miss 2 days of school, a week, the first like 3 or 4 weeks of school. So we really appreciate teachers, administrators working with the kids. We super appreciate that because it gets really hairy for them. There are many times that we are in hotel lobbies helping with homework and making sure everybody does stuff. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate the board for letting us talk about these guys and giving them some recognition and some relevancy. And transportation, where's Rachel? Rachel puts up with our wild schedule because it changes so frequently. So thank you, everyone.
Well, I can tell you that before you clap, Isabel is a 3-time All-Stater, and she has an opportunity to, Tom, you'll appreciate these names. She has a chance to join Kelsey Podlesny, who was a 4-time All-Stater, and she won a state championship. And we had 3 other girls in the history of the program that were All-State: Andrea Cannon, Emily Podlesny, who won a state championship, and Miranda Whiteman. Remember her? So Isabel, you are in rarefied air with women's golf in Green River. So congratulations. Give me a break.
All right.
You draw your name. I get to pick who gets to do your job.
This is going to be a tough one. Chris Widener from Green River High School. Oh my God, math is going to, our scores are going to drop. So after tonight, man, you have to cook too. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I delegate that. That's what I do. All right. Our next item is approval of the agenda. I need a motion, please.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Tom, second by Brenda to approve the agenda. I need an amendment. Could you please give me a motion to amend to add 9.01A and remove 4.05, please?
A motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Tom, second by Ashley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All those in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, approval of the consent agenda items. We did remove 4.05, so I need a motion, please.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Moved by Brenda, second by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, a report on the Mckinnon meet and greet that was held on September 28th at Mckinnon Elementary School, and I was unable to attend that. So did you go, Brenda?
Yeah, they just asked for some updated desks and I think that's been taken care of. I think we need to encourage them to just ask and
Yeah.
not be shy.
I think the last time we were there, they asked for a copier for
Right.
some kind of machine. or something.
Laminator.
Yeah, laminator, that's what it was.
Like,
Yeah.
They're very frugal, but it was really neat to visit with the parents and the kids and Dion Quitberg's daughter lives out there now. Dion was a part of
Yeah.
our art on
Yeah.
the green and so it was really nice.
Cool. AstroTurf holding up?
Kevin was a board member with it.
Who?
Kevin.
Dion
Quit-
Quitberg,
No. Not that I know of. I don't recall.
it was great.
All right.
But these guys attended, so
Yeah, no, it was a great turnout and they're very appreciative of everything they have. I think the other thing that got brought up afterwards was air conditioning. I think something we should take a look at for next summer. But yeah, it was a great group. It was a great night. So it's good to see some familiar faces from McKinnon for sure.
Next is a report on the WSBA Fall Roundup. I was out of town, was unable to attend. Somebody'd like to speak to that?
Sure. I
Ashley?
thought it was really done well. And I think Brand Farmer always makes things seem so matter of fact. And you'd think, why wouldn't the legislature vote for us? But I thought it was good. And I always enjoy talking to people from other districts. So
Anybody else?
I think the way he went over the budget and what the state has right now in the coffers and makes it easy for us to be able to go and say, we have money, let's fund education.
Right.
So, and then $500 billion, I think was a number that was.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to talk about that a little later in the meeting. Next is a reminder that the School Board Candidate Public Forum will be at 6 p.m. We have 4 candidates for 3 seats, and that will take place right here in the boardroom. It's also being, I think we'll have it on our Facebook page, correct? Okay, that's coming up at 6 o'clock on 24th. And a reminder of the School Board Association Annual Conference coming up in November. We have nothing under personnel under curriculum instruction and assessment, a recognition of student teachers. Mr. Ferginzer, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. We have 3 student teachers with us this year, and 2 of them are at Monroe Elementary, Sky Ligursky, and I'm going to mention her first because she has to do a nice little wave. There we go. All right. She is working in 2nd grade with Stephanie Cordova. She will graduate from UW in December. And neat thing is Mike has them do this little questionnaire. And one of the questions is, why did you get into education? And she said, I went into education because I had great teachers in elementary school help me love learning. I wanted to be that teacher for someone else. I love seeing kids learn and work toward completing their goals. Another question was, tell us something many may not know or would be interesting. And she said she's always wanted to be a teacher since she was in kindergarten. Our second student teacher at Monroe is Patricia Patterson. Patricia, AKA Fred. I don't know why she wanted me to say that, but she's at Monroe 3rd grade working with Kristen Hager. She was born in Green River, and she actually was raised in the same home that her mother was. And that, if you say it like that, you're going, well, yeah, her mother was probably there, but it was the house that her mother grew up in, and then she grew up in, because that took me a minute. I had to ask her, where did you get your degree? And she went through Western Governors University and bachelor's in education. elementary education. And why did she go into the field? I've always wanted to become a teacher since I was a little girl. School took a back seat so I could raise my children. Once they started elementary school, I became a student teacher, a substitute teacher for our school district. After subbing for 4 years, she knew that she wanted to continue her education and get her own classroom. And finally, one thing that we may not know is that she is an avid hunter. I harvest and process all of my own game, which is my family's primary food source. So Patricia Patterson and Teresa Schaaf, did she make it? She did not. Unfortunately, Teresa Schaaf was unable to make it, and Bridget Nielsen was unable to make it as well. Teresa is working with Bridget at Lincoln Middle School this semester.
Okay, great. Welcome aboard. Look forward to offering you a contract maybe. Next item is recognition of the Truman Elementary new teachers. We missed David last month. He is with us this month. Welcome, David.
Good evening, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, Board of Trustees. We have 5 new certified teachers at Truman this year, but only one of them is actually new to Sweetwater 2 or to Truman at all. The other ones have moved up through para ranks to get certified positions. We had Miss Katie Wabel, who comes to us from Rock Springs. She's the one that's new to Truman this year, and she's in our special education department, and she's doing a phenomenal job. We also have Kathy Saul, who was a para in our title room last year. She's teaching 4th grade. We have Lindsay Newman. Lindsay is on our 1st grade team. She was in our junior K program for most of a decade. Yep, she started as a para in our junior K room when the program started. We have Miss Alex Bailey, who is with us. She was in our office last year, and she's our counselor this year. And Utica Hill, she's in our, she's still in our title room as a certified title teacher rather than a para this year. So that's the 5 new certified staff we have, but most of them are not new to Truman.
All right, welcome to board. Next item is hear a director report from our curriculum director, Greg Verginzer. Greg, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. So last year, we began a process of looking at what are called critical concepts. But to take a little bit of a step back, one of the things that we need as a profession to do is look at our students and our staff, both the academic performance, but socially and emotionally. And so some of the facts that we have come to us from the NEA. 55% of teachers are planning to leave teaching early. Between 2008 and 9 and 18-19 academic year, the number of students completing their teacher education program declined by 33%. 55.4% of Maryland teachers with less than 5 years have resigned. These are data points that still reflect what's happening in Wyoming as well. Washington Post put out an article, 370,000 teachers have left the profession since the beginning of the pandemic. And Arizona, interestingly enough, is now not requiring you to have any college background at all to step into a classroom and teach. And on the Hill, it's another publication, nearly 2 million students are not enrolled in public schools this year. So we have some challenges, and part of those challenges revolve around the wellness and safety of our kids. And last year, when I started to really look at how can I bring what are called the critical concepts to the district, the gentleman that came to us is also the gentleman that worked with us and did a presentation on September 4th, I believe, to the entire district. I'm not sure how many of the board were able to attend, but in that process, he talked about a little bit of the data that's in this book. And there's a assessment that's called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. And not only does ACEs have an impact on how children act in classes, but it also carries through, honestly, to the rest of your life. So a couple months ago, I talked about trauma, and we are talking about the trauma that kids may experience in the home, whether that's abuse or alcoholic parents or somebody else in the home that is on some sort of substance. And there's now data that shows that this carries on for the rest of their life, unless they have an opportunity to be involved in a school system that can be on the front lines to help them heal and deal with the stress and trauma that they experience. Through the book, The School Wellness Wheel, we have looked at, Dr. Bob Marzano has worked with our state for, I'm thinking 15 years now, between 12 and 15 years. His organization has worked. We had Jan Hay work in our district in the past, and Mike Rule, who wrote the book and did our presentation on the 4th, also works with Marzano Resources. And this is his little blurb about the impact that this book and this process of thinking about education has the potential to shift education across the country. Now, how this applies directly to Wyoming School is the RIDE group created by the governor. It's to innovate and change educational processes throughout the state. And the RIDE group went to different areas of the state and had public forums, question and answer sessions, and we attended one in Rock Springs. But that data was then brought back, and part of that information was we have to do more to address the challenges such as teacher retention, student engagement, and the mental health of both students and staff members. And through this process, they came out of this book, The School Wellness Wheel. That's what we're attempting to do. And so mastery-based learning is not about failing to honor the work that teachers have done before. So their common assessments, things that they have created in their classrooms, the tools that they're used to using, those are all still valid. We're not taking away any of those. We're just looking at a way to organize our information. One thing that people get a little nervous about is culturally responsive teaching. That is not CRT as the CRT that is in the news. That is just knowing and understanding the culture and the background of the students that are in your class. So when you are teaching them, you have an idea of how to better chunk the learning, and helps them to learn better because you're tying to things that they already know. That's how the brain learns. When you know something, if you can tie something new to it, you're better able to learn and retain that information. And then trauma responsive is truly understanding and being responsive to the trauma that a student or staff members or parents may be dealing with. And those are the things that stop our kids from learning. And those are the things that stop our students from being prepared to learn in class, and why across the country, I think that we are seeing some of the behaviors that are prevalent in schools today. So this is an example of a critical concept that was boiled down into what is now called a proficiency scale. So we're always aiming to make sure our students attain a 3, and as I say that, no, we are not changing from an ABCD report carding system. We're not talking about that at all. What a 3 represents, if we were looking at Marzano's grading scale, 3 would be an A-. But we are targeting a 3 because that is the most common information after 30 years of research into standards across the nation and within states, that these are the common strands and threads that run through all standards. And they've been put into critical concepts that we then take and alter and adjust based on what we need to do, not only in our school system, but based on standards. And so a 3 is what we're shooting for, but we start looking at 2s. Vocabulary is key, and making sure our students know exactly the critical vocabulary that they need to know, and teaching that to them so that when they go to a 3, they are using the vocabulary that they are taught in a 2. Plus, we are looking at clarity And where it says on a 3, we are learning, that's our learning target. And on a 2, it says, I can describe. The I can is our, somebody help me. And there we go, our success criteria. So this gives us an example of what types of information we're putting out there, the responses that we're going to get. And then on the other side where it says, for example, it says, I can, and then you fill in blank. That's the information that could be assessed on a daily basis. So the schools are the bedrock of our community, and they are the bedrock of all communities. They are social institutions, and we have a powerful capability and ability to change and buffer the negative effects of stress and trauma on our students, enhance the process of cognitive, social, and emotional growth, and promote the resilience in the learners they serve on a daily basis. So that's really my big piece right now. We started with math. We're into ELA and science now, and we will continue the work. And so open to any questions.
I don't want to get 100%, but how's the buy-in in the district? Is it good?
So people are hesitant when they come, but then when they're there and they understand the why behind it and the brain research that is behind the process, and then they realize that by the time they leave and do a full 1 day of work on the proficiency scales, they take that back to their classroom. They actually have a usable tool. In the past, we have not had that. And there are some teachers that are on the fence, and this is a very slow rollout. And I've said, you know what, if you do not feel comfortable, you don't have to use them. Use what you have that you're comfortable with, and we will continue the conversation throughout the year. So people will say, well, you know, another big change. No, a big change is doing a curriculum adoption, which would be a new book. And we are behind the curve on that because, you know what? The research that's out there right now and the tools that are out there right now are proven to work, and they can be free. Our teachers already feel comfortable with what they're using. We don't need to make big shifts, and our scores are good. But what we're trying to do is create a K-12 system. So when a child leaves 5th grade and goes into 6th grade, those 6th grade teachers are building off that knowledge, that information from the proficiency scales that come back to them, and they know exactly what's been done. They know what a child does and is struggling to learn, so they know right where to pick up. And that same transition happens from 8th grade to and into high school.
Okay, and the other question I had, Greg, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
That's all right.
We know Craig's going to be presenting Ytop, but what's your assessment as a curriculum director of our scores?
Our scores are solid, and quite honestly, this is the first time that I can remember that we are all meeting expectations. That hasn't ever happened before, so that's positive. We are seeing that we're getting pummeled with our kids that were in those early grades.
3rd grade.
When, well, yeah.
They're 1st graders.
Well, they were 1st graders then. And so our bubble of kids that need support is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, in my opinion, because they're the most negatively impacted. Our 1st graders right now and our kindergartners currently, they've been in a regular system. Those other kids were not. Mm-hmm. And so we have to really be mindful of what they need and then respond in the ways that best help them to succeed. And next month, I'm going to present on the Innovative Ideas Project and give some ways that we're trying to motivate our teachers and provide resources for them, both financially and in the tools that they need in order to meet the needs of the students that are in their classroom.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
So we're going to present that next month.
Good, because we got to support them best we can. No
Absolutely.
doubt. Any other questions? Board work.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. Next is our report on our Ytop and ACT results. Mr. Behringer, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Corr, Board of Trustees. I'm going to go through our Ytop ACT scores. Like we said, these just came out from the state within the last couple weeks. So some of the things, some of the challenges we had last year, I think most people would agree last year was harder than the year before. Year before we had structure. We were told this is how you're going to do it. Last year was kind of choose your own path. And well, as well, we all know we didn't always choose the right path. So we have the lowest attendance rate, 87.8% as a district. That's a pretty low rate compared to the pre-pandemic years, 2019-20 was 94.2%. So you can see we had a lot of kids out of school throughout the year. And despite that, we still did well. In our EL, English Language Arts and Math, we had 4 grade levels that improved their scores. In science, our high school 10th grade science scores, they had 71% at Green River High School that were proficient or advanced in science. And if you saw some of the, if you were, I'm going to have to let you know when the University of Wyoming comes in and works with our teachers, because if you just spend 10 minutes in that room, it isn't way over my head, but some really cool conversations. So they have done, that was an outstanding job. There's a significant drop, as Chairman Corr said, in grade 3. The state average dropped 6.92% since spring of 2019. That's a significant drop across the state. And across the nation, those schools that were remote the whole time, we haven't seen statistics on that yet, but we've heard that it's not good at all. And so those are areas that we have to, this is where interventions come in and to try and get those kids back up. So this is the first time in 3 years that the Wyoming Department of Education has done a performance report. And as Greg said, we met expectations across the board. I had 5 years worth of data or 5 years previously, and we always had a building that was partially meeting, but this past year, every building met expectations. The ELA, we had 7 of the 8 grades tested above the state average, and overall we were 7% above the state average. You can see those scores across. We struggled. Our lowest scores were 3rd grade. Even though our 3rd grade scores were low, they were above the state average. Math, all 8 of our grades tested above the state average, and we were 11.31% higher than the state average as a system. Science, we test 4, 8, and 10, and you can see those scores there at 4th grade. We were above the state average. 8th grade, we were below the state average, and in 10th grade, we were above. That includes Expedition Academy on that. So when I said Green River High School was 71.4%, Expedition was not quite there. ACT tests, Green River High School improved in all areas across the board, including the composite, and they were right at the state average. Green River High School is right at the state composite area average. And you can see EA improved in 3 of the 4 areas, including the composite test, which you can see there. So what I did there is I put together Wyoming from the Wyoming averages, and then the last 2 years of Green River and Expedition Academy. So makes a lot of bars, but you can see the improvements made by that. And again, we can go all the way back to that low attendance rate, which is something hopefully we don't deal with this year. Moving forward, we need to communicate with our stakeholders about all our successes. Our test scores are a great success, but that's only a part of what we do well in this district. And we need to communicate those successes, academic and non-academic. We have so many good things going on in the district. Like Greg said, we need to continue the work on the clarification of standards and our critical concepts, make that easy to use for staff. And we need to support our staff through the work in PLCs and professional development. I've sat in on a few PLCs, and I'll tell you the strength, I think the reason we were able to overcome our attendance rate last year is because of the strong grade level communications, the professional learning communities, those grade levels through getting together and meeting and discussing about ways to work through the challenges. So with that, I will take any questions.
Questions? I have that's not a question, it's more of a statement, I guess. I would hope that the board would agree that resources and support to do what we can for these students struggling from the pandemic, and I include the teachers in that statement. And I know we are spending resources and guiding resources to that. And I would hope we do continue that. I assume everybody agrees with that.
We are. I think when you hear Greg's next month, his innovative ideas, it's allowing, we have some really cool projects out there that teachers are doing, particularly to address some of those deficiencies we see in our younger kids.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, thank you. Any,
So how will we communicate the success that we've had with the Ytops? Will we do a press release? We're gonna.
We can. We will put that out. I mean, we'll share that with the local.
I think you should take out a half-page ad in the Green River Star or do something like that. So people can see it, feel it, touch it.
Yeah.
Do something.
Okay, we can do that. We try to make it as simple, as easy to read as possible. So
Yeah.
we will get something out.
Yep. Okay. I do not have any stock in the Green River Star. Just in case you know that. Next is our presentation on mentoring program. Brian Palmer Bieber and Brittany Montgomery, welcome. You have 2 minutes. Brittany says that's not happening.
Funny. I could do it, actually. You wouldn't want to hear it. It would go real fast. Thank you, Chairman Core and Superintendent Behringer and School Board for letting us speak tonight. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? All right. So at the last school board meeting, Dr. Foose talked about our mentoring program here in Sweetwater County School District number 2. And it's also kind of been expressed tonight, the importance of finding and helping our teachers. Retention and recruitment are huge concerns. And so we have kind of created this mentorship cohort to hopefully help some of those new people joining us. So kind of what we're focused on, our little mission right now is supporting continuous growth personally and professionally through collaborative connection. Sorry, I can read.
Good. Next slide.
Right here.
Oh, good.
We got this.
All right. Okay, so basically Jason and or Dr. Foose and myself.
Turn your mic over there so we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can't hear. I'm pretty loud.
Well, that's, Tom will tell you that's what he needs.
All right. So Dr. Foose, myself, and Brittany sat down this summer and kind of mapped out some things we wanted to do to help support our new professionals in this cohort, and as well as our mentors, because just because you're a teacher, you also need support as a mentor in what you need to do to help grow people and how we can help grow them, because we have to also build those relationships between the two, the mentor and the mentee. And we want to fill in that gap. We're kind of their go-to people. So if they have any questions or concerns that they feel might be dumb or hard to ask their mentor, they can always ask us and reach out to us. Kind of as a non-judging, we obviously don't hire them or fire them or do any of those things. We're just there on their side to help support them in any way.
Okay. Kind of the why behind here, you'll see we just wanted to hopefully embed some support with these new teachers in our district, which some of them aren't brand new to our district, but that's okay. One of the things I think educators need is to be rooted not just in their school, but in their community, especially here in Wyoming. It's essential to feel like you're part of something. Our winters are pretty lonely otherwise. So we're hoping that this cohort not only connects and roots our educators within our district, but also within this community. So that's one of the major benefits that we're hoping to tackle right now. We launched, kind of as Bree said, in August when the new teachers came back for new teacher training. We were kind of there to answer any questions that they had. We did a couple of activities with them and just kind of introduced ourselves, and that this year it would be looking a little bit different. Again, the cohort concept, instead of just having a mentor that's within your building or possibly that's on your team, this cohort concept allows us to connect our mentors and our mentees within the entire district. So not only are you rooted in your building, but we're rooting within all the buildings And we're finding ways that something that I'm dealing with in primary is something that's going on in the high school, and we're finding things together to solve some of those issues or concerns. Or if someone comes to us and says, do you know someone in the community that can do this? If we don't know, someone within our little pipeline does. So that's the beauty of this cohort, is building that pipeline within, because everything's already here. We just have to connect it.
So we've done a lot of talk about what support is, and these are sticky notes. So we had everyone, mentor, mentee, kind of write to us, what do you think support is? And so we highlighted some of the favorite ones. So openness, conversation, treat with correction, or correct me when I'm wrong, honesty, let me fail and pick me back up. And I think this is something we ask our kids to do a lot. We say failure is a part of learning, and it's a lot harder for us adults to do. But I think it's something that we need to recognize, that it's okay to fail. And as long as you are recognizing it, you are internalizing it, and you're asking for help. Support looks like providing answers to questions or information without judgment. Open communication, active collaboration, feedback that's constructive. You're going to see open communication over and over and over again. That is something people want. And the collaboration and open communication is something we knew we needed. It's also part of the district's top 3 things they want to work on this year. It's also something teachers are asking for, our new teachers and our old teachers alike. Support.
Not old.
Old. Yeah, not. I mean, we've been here, we're seasoned. We've been here for a while. That includes myself, so it's fine. Support someone who answers my questions, helps me out, tells me where I need to go, fulfilling and building on each other's ideas, dreams, needs, wants, and building each other's confidence. Knowing I always have someone to ask the questions, even if they're stupid. Okay. And then we just included some of the pictures from that first meeting, and you can see it was great dialogue. I think one of the things we don't do often enough is let people talk to one another, share their feelings, their thoughts, what they can do. And so we provided some time for them to do that. We've also created a Google Classroom where we do check-ins. We're providing some resources there. We're having collaborative conversations. Sometimes we give them a little assignment and they share some things with us. We did have a Google Meet where we met and, just asked them, what is it that you're needing and working on? And so then we can come back and help them. So critical concepts came up. Go ahead.
Sorry. This was one of our little assignments right at the very beginning, September 7th, just to check in, share what's going well, celebrate positives, what you might need help with, things like that. So the district's amazing, loving my school team, everyone and everything in GR. Lots of great stuff going on. My class is going well. I'm excited to learn alongside of this team. Hit the ground running. Transitions are going great. Loving the high school. So really neat stuff, because again, when you are in a school building, you kind of only hear about what's going on in your building. So this has opened us up to a lot of, I know it was mentioned by Craig, we want to highlight all the really neat stuff that's going on. And this has provided us with a little bit of insight into all the neat things that are going on. Another thing that we do is put out surveys to kind of figure out what is something you want us to talk about in a Zoom, or so conferences is coming up. So we've been given lots of help with conferences and ways to bridge some uncomfortable conversations, how to make sure things stay positive. So I think it's been really helpful for all involved.
Then we just included some pictures of our current new teachers. So Keith Brown here at Washington Elementary, teaching in a health class. Miranda Smith, teaching an LLI group there. And here they are again some more. We have Mackenzie Brown and Dan Mast here at Lincoln Middle School. This is really great. This is a video. I don't know if we can play it. Can you hit? No, you can't. All right. Well, this is really great. This is if you've ever heard the Banana song.
Corn. Yes, sorry, corn. If you had ever heard the corn song, or if you haven't, you should probably get on this. It's shared on, we'll figure out a way to show you. But these ladies here at Lincoln Elementary School figured they got to get a way to get the kids into this plot. Okay. And so they did it to the corn song, and they actually also had kids do it. So they videoed kids, and I think we might have a picture of that next. Nope, we didn't include it, but it is great. And they were really funny at it. 3 boys, it was excellent. Shayla Jensen, Stephanie Cordova, who's in the audience tonight, teaching their hearts out over at Monroe, doing great things. Brianna Heron, who's at the high school, Lindsay Newman, Truman. She's doing a lot of brain things, whole brain teaching. Thank you. I knew I was going to say it wrong. Some of us attended literacy. Yeah, go ahead.
Science of Reading conference at the University of Wyoming. You can't see me. I'm in the background.
She's there. Yeah. Anyways, we attended that, so we wanted to include that. Here's Whitney Fotheringham from Harrison Elementary, 5th grade. Casey Core and Heather Phillips at Monroe, and Lindsay Newman, Annie Stice, and Stephanie Olivas there at 3rd grade. We had, and Holly Hunt at Monroe. We had several other people send some pictures to share with us. We'll share them with you. Lots of great things happening. We know Truman Elementary is doing a little bit with a book study over there, so they have a great cohort. And this is Brittany and I. We got invited to represent elementary teachers for the senior class, and it was amazing. It's really cool to see the kids at that age, because sometimes we think they forget about us at the elementary level, but they didn't. So it was wonderful to be there with them. But it just goes again, these are also our future teachers, and we're proud of them and proud to be a part of their lives. So this is what we're doing with the mentoring program. Thank you to Jason Foos.
Good stuff. Questions?
Any questions?
Questions? Very good. Awesome. 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 Thank you very much. Okay, now we go to the business side of our meeting tonight. Consider approval of the RFP results for district vehicles. Rachel Todd, welcome. And by the way, good information you've given us.
Oh, thank you.
Before we get started.
Well, good evening, Mr. Core, Chairman Core. Yep, that's right. Chairman Core, Superintendent Berenger, and Board of Trustees. So we would like to recommend the purchase of the 2022 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid XLE from Ken Garf in Cheyenne for the total purchase of $34,314. They quoted us actually the $34,764, but when I called them, they had added $450 for a 3rd key fob. They had misunderstood the specs. When it said two key fobs, they took it as 2 spare keys. So they added a 3rd one for $450, and I told them, no, we don't need a 3rd one. So it did reduce that cost down by $450. So after looking into this, and I want to point out that before, when we got approval last month, I did call all of the local dealerships personally and told them we are going out for bid on this. I would love it if you guys would put something in. I had 3 of them tell me, oh yeah, we're working on it. One of them I'm working with the expedition that we got approved last month, and yet none of them came through. So
What you can do.
We did really try to reach out local. So after looking at this and calling to find out actual time frame of when we're going to receive these vehicles, because we're feeling the shortage of being down the vehicle that we are right now. So with all of that information, we felt like going with the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. For one, it was the only one that was an actual hybrid, and that's what we spec'd. And with the time frame, they were very confident that we would be getting this vehicle by the end of December. So I know it was not our lowest bid, but I felt like it was the most valuable vehicle, as it has the highest. Oh my goodness, my brain just lost it. Well, it's got great gas mileage because it is a hybrid, but it retains its value. So if in the future, for insurance purposes, it's going to retain its value better than its competitor up here. So
Okay, I need a motion, please.
I'll second.
Moved by Brenda, second by Tom to go with Ken Garf out of Cheyenne for option 3, $34,314 for a 2022 Toyota RAV4 hybrid. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Rachel.
you.
Consider approval of the RFQ results for the professional architectural services for the central kitchen remodel at Lincoln Middle School.
This is
It's wonderful reading.
Yes, it's just an update. It's not approval. What we have is two groups that have the qualifications to go ahead with the kitchen. So we've sent out additional questions and we will look through those. The facility committee will look through those and we'll go from there. We have Plan 1 out of Rock Springs and Arrett out of Sheridan. So both are qualified and both have good experience in building large industrial kitchens. So we'll have those questions the end of this week and then we'll have a facility committee or
So we'll have a recommendation in November.
yes, we will.
Okay. It needs to be noted that both of these are using the same designer, HC Kitchen Design. So regardless of who we pick, we're going to have the same kitchen, I guess. They're both designed. So we'll look at it and have a recommendation in November. Okay. Thank you, Craig. Next, consider approval of the going out for an RFP for school district legal services. Craig?
So we are going to go out for legal services. Currently, we're with Hickey and Evans. They do a fine job, but our contract with them is up. And so with your approval, we will put out an advertisement to get an idea of who out there is interested in being our legal representation for the next calendar year.
Okay, I think it's a good idea. Any questions? I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Ashley, second by David to go out for an RFP for school district legal services. I assume you guys all have copies of it? Okay,
If Hickey and Evans does have the opportunity to. apply.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I would be surprised if they didn't. I think they're pretty pleased with our district. Okay. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thanks, Craig. Next, consider approval of the special revenue budget amendment. Chris, welcome. Sorry about your Packers. They'll rebound.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. So I'm presenting an amendment to our special revenue funds, and this, at the time we adopted the budget, you adopted the budget, we do our best to estimate the program area expenses, knowing that we have a lot of grant awards. Well, so my estimate was slightly off, and this adjustment will get the program areas back in line with our actual grant awards.
Pretty simple. Need a motion, please?
I'll motion to approve.
Motion by Tom, seconded by David. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
This is an item we added to the agenda at my request, discussion on the Wyoming Constitutional Amendment A, local government stock investing ballot initiative. And Chris, I appreciate you doing a little bit of research on this for us. I think it's important that the public know how this might affect school districts.
Okay. I hope I can shed some light on it. It's not going to be a lot of light, but this is an amendment to the Wyoming Constitution that will be on the November 8th general election ballot. And this came out of the 2021 legislative session in a joint resolution. Basically, I'm just going to read this one paragraph to you. The Wyoming Constitution allows the state to invest state funds in equities such as the stock of corporations, but does not allow the funds of counties, cities, and other political subdivisions to be invested in equities. The adoption of this amendment would allow the funds of counties, cities, and other political subdivisions to be invested in equities to the extent and in the manner the legislature may allow by law. Any law authorizing the investment of specified political subdivision funds in equities would require a 2/3 vote of both houses of the legislature. So I think in my mind that this is an is creating a state authorized and planned investment opportunity for school districts. I think it's going to be, totally governed by the state and just giving the school district another opportunity. I will not be investing, in the equities as a business manager of this district. And I don't think that is what this is intended to do. I think it's a state tool to open this up for other entities.
Yeah, and I've done some research on this. The discussion from the legislature, both in the Senate and the House, centers around allowing us, the school district, to send our dollars to the state investment pool, and they invest the money. So we don't have, in Pool A, by the way, and Pool A is a very conservative investment. And this would just allow us, for example, our pre-97 dollars that have been sitting there generating 0.95 or 65%. This would allow us, since our plans are not to actually use that in case of an emergency, would allow us to maybe gather and get more. That's obviously for a future board to decide. But and after hearing all that, because when I first read this, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to have to hire an investment person to invest our money, and do we really want to do that with public funds? It's kind of scary. But after researching this a little bit more, I'm more inclined to see how they go forward in this. So I'm not actually telling you to vote yes on this. I just wanted the public to know that it could affect school districts.
Yes.
So in a big way, I guess. Okay.
Great.
Any questions? Everybody cool?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for doing that. I appreciate it. Okay, next, consider approval of the board resolution authorizing legal action against the state of Wyoming for operations and CapCon. And the bottom line here is this is round number 3 for me. I have to admit, when I saw the 1992 lawsuit, my name was on it. That was kind of weird. That was a long time ago. Anyway, so this is the resolution. I must read the resolution and I'll need a motion to approve it. And basically it says the following. The Wyoming State Constitution guarantees the children of Wyoming an equal opportunity to a quality education regardless of where a student attends school. The Wyoming Supreme Court has ruled the right to a quality education is a fundamental right under the Wyoming State Constitution. Supporting an opportunity for a complete, proper, quality education is the legislature's paramount priority under the Constitution. Competing priorities not of constitutional magnitude are secondary. The legislature may not yield to these secondary competing priorities until constitutionally sufficient provision is made for elementary and secondary education. Because education is one of the state's most important functions, lack of financial resources is not an acceptable reason for failure to provide a constitutionally sound education system. Safe and efficient physical facilities with which to carry on the process of education are a necessary element of the total educational process, and state funds must be readily available for those needs. The legislature bears the burden of funding and providing constitutionally adequate facilities to school districts to provide an equal opportunity for quality education. Safe and efficient facilities that are educationally suitable for student learning has been a long-standing need in Sweetwater County School District number 2, and Wyoming's education system and the physical facilities with which to carry on the process of education are not currently being funded according to constitutional mandates and governing law, resulting in harm to the district. The board has diligently exhausted all potential means to resolve this conflict without pursuing legal action. These efforts to work with the state to resolve this conflict have proved unsuccessful. And on August 18th, 2022, the Wyoming Education Association filed suit against the state of Wyoming, alleging the state is in violation of the Wyoming Constitution by failing to provide an equal opportunity to a quality education for Wyoming students. This board has reviewed said complaint, concurs with its claims against the state, and has additional and distinct claims of educational harm to students resulting from the state's failure to adequately and equitably fund education. Be it resolved that this board, by a majority, agrees to authorizing legal action against the state of Wyoming to ensure education funding complies with the Wyoming State Constitution and applicable governing law. I need a motion to approve me signing this.
I will motion to approve.
I will second. I have questions.
Okay, moved by Tom, second by Brenda. Questions? Brenda?
What does the coalition that we belong to advise us on this?
To do what we're being asked to do tonight. We had a coalition meeting the other day, and Laramie County School District and Cheyenne Rock Springs District, and there's one other one have joined with the WEA in their lawsuit. Right now, the coalition, as you see in the breakdown on the cost, the districts represent over 50% of the students in Wyoming. And the coalition, that people on the meeting are like, our board's meeting, we're going to talk about this. And I got a clear indication that everybody, that I'm not going to say everybody, but most people are wanting to join this. And how many, we don't know.
Right. I believe Campbell County took no action. Laramie's still on the fence, I believe.
Yeah, Campbell County took no action, and he explained it in that Zoom meeting why. I can't remember what it was. I think they were going to wait till after the election.
They are.
I think was what the idea was, because some of these districts have some major turnover coming in their boards. So,
But the coalition attorneys are advising us to
yes,
join WE.
yes, because the coalition, to be real honest with you, if the Wyoming Education Association hadn't filed, the coalition would have come to us and said, we need to file this. So that's where we were leaning in the coalition meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I'll be glad to sign that. Thank you. Next is consider approval of the amendment to policy BBB-E school board elections. Dr. Foos.
Thank you, Chairman, Core Trustees, Superintendent Behringer. As you can see, we just need to get that thing current with our current election cycles here for the district and here for Sweetwater County School District number 2. Thank you for your consideration.
Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Brenda, second by Ashley to approve the changes to BB-E. Any questions on this? Straightforward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next is the changes to use of school facilities, community use of school facilities.
We've had this policy reviewed extensively by Hickey and Evans and Copenhaver's office, and this is their recommendation to minor changes on amendment to this policy. Chairman Corey, I might add the facility use request form managed by Mr. Beardsley's office. That thing is updated as well to align with this policy, but the form is not a policy.
Okay. Need a motion, please? Moved by Dave, second by Brenda to approve file KG. Is that correct, Jason?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Any questions? I have a comment, if I could. In paragraph 4, I think it should say cost to the district for securing the custodians will be charged to the organization, not may, in my opinion. And in paragraph 6, you need to change that to games of chance instead of games of change. I assume you're talking about gambling.
Yes.
Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And then I don't know how the other board feels, but I think there should be a damage deposit. I mean, if we come back on them and we don't have anything hanging over their heads, I don't know how difficult that is to collect. Brenda, you might be in former Green River Rec Center director, but I personally think there should be even when a nonprofit uses the island pavilion, we got to supply a damage deposit. We always get it back because we make sure it's clean when we leave. I don't know what everybody else feels.
I think that the 2 million requirement insurance rider for people using, for example, the baseball programs, all those, they need to demonstrate the insurance rider. That creates a level of protection, but probably not the one that you're looking for on some sort of a deposit, but there is a protective net there.
Well, I'm thinking we probably wouldn't turn in an insurance claim on a messy floor that didn't get cleaned.
That's correct.
I'm just talking about garbage and stuff. So we're going to have to pay the custodians to clean that. So I think a damage deposit would be good. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Well, it's just, I see a damage deposit being another thing that Tony's office is going to have to manage, and that's not always easy to come by. And
we did hash it out with Tony a little bit earlier this week on this issue.
And we may not have to do a damage deposit if we include in paragraph 4, cost of the district for securing the custodians will be charged to the organization. Because if it's messy and we have to bring the custodians afterwards to clean it, we can charge them for that.
And we have done that in the past. We have billed.
But it says may. I think it needs to say will.
I think most attorneys really like the word may because it does create that leeway for an option to charge or not charge. And about the first time we run into a circumstance, and I can't give an example where it may not be pertinent to charge and the word will is there, then we're in potential violation of the policy to proceed forward.
Okay, would you check with the lawyers to
Yeah,
see
will.
if will can be in there instead of maybe? I'm good with that. Okay, this is a first reading?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, this is an amendment, but Mary will turn this into a first reading.
Yeah. Maybe you can give us an answer when you come back.
Yeah.
All right. So did we motion this? Did we motion this?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, consider approval of revisions to policy GCBDK and GDBDK, funeral and bereavement leave, first reading.
I think you can see the real simple changes there and what Mr. Behringer and Alan and Craig and I run into on a pretty consistent basis is having to interpret them familial type relationships at the end of that wordage there. A lot of folks want to attend uncles. A lot of folks are very close to aunts and uncles. And so we're just going to go ahead and add that language in there so that we're not having to interpret it.
Okay, need a motion, please?
I'll motion to approve.
Second. Moved by Tom, second by David. I would just clarify, you probably need to put his, her designee in there instead of his. Just a comment. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, consider approval of the revisions in policy GCL, professional staff development opportunities. Again, first reading.
This one's a little trickier, Chairman, Core Trustees. Here is Super 8's perspective on this policy. As you can see, that last paragraph for face value looks like something that's pertinent to be there for our employees as we support them on internships and those things, meaning a 2-year commitment. But we have had some circumstances within the last 5 to 7 years where a mutual separation following a internship is in best interest of the district and the employee. Here's an example. We may have an employee seeking a job and they may not be the successful candidate. However, they may be the successful candidate in Casper, or they may have an opportunity to move home by family. And this removing of this paragraph allows those things on a little bit better of a cleaner basis. Again, getting us up to date with the practice without having to have minor policy violations.
Need a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Moved by Brenda, second by Ashley to approve GCL first reading. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jason.
Chairman Core, 15 seconds. Some pretty important policies coming down the pike, but they're going to be a little more extensive that we're taking a look at, the RIF policies. And Ashley, Brenda, David, thank you for your work on that committee. But this is just the pregame as we head forward.
Okay. Thank you. Superintendent board comments. I was going to pick on Daniel and pick him first, but I'll go with Mark.
Congrats to all the Washington staff, students, parents. What a wonderful achievement. And thank you, everybody, for your hard work. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel.
I really congratulate Harder. I played tennis with that guy for 4 years. He taught me a lot. He loves that sport. Mckinnon was a very cool opportunity to go see. I haven't seen it since I was in high school, so it hasn't changed. Even the desks, I don't think have changed since I've been there.
AstroTurf is new, though.
I know Craig is working on that going up, and he took photos of everything to see what we can get that school, and I really appreciate that. And other than that, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Welcome, by the way. Ashley.
Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to Washington. They have a special place in my heart, and I hope you guys don't think that these kids forget you, because they don't. My kids still love all their teachers from Washington. And Brian and Brittany, thank you for your mentoring program. I think it's a great way to help keep these teachers here and to help motivate teachers that are seasoned, that it gives them a new way to help other people and share their information. I think our school's done a good job at the school spirit at the football games. It's been really fun this year. And the homecoming events were really fun. And I wanted to say thank you to Rose Floral. They donated their corsages and boutonnieres to all of the kids, and they did a beautiful job. And so thank you to them for giving back to our community.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Brenda?
Ditto about Washington. We're so very proud of you. And it was great to see that celebration and look forward to coming up on Wednesday. So let us know the time and that. And thanks, Brianne and Brittany. That's a great opportunity to keep our teachers here and motivated and know that they can go up and down in the whole district. So thanks. That's a lot of work. In addition to being in the classroom. So, but a great opportunity to go to Mckinnon, but also to listen to Mr. Farmer, who does get a little long-winded, but the information was wonderful. So I do go to the WSBA board meeting next weekend in Casper in preparation for the conference. So if you guys have any bills you want, anything you want shared, just please let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda. David?
My kids grew up at Washington, and thank you. My oldest will graduate from law school this year, and that's hard to believe. I'm not that old, but he gained his love for education at Washington. So thank you. There's just some great things happening around the district. Principal Lake spent the night on the roof. That was exciting. I think we should do it again in December. But there's just some great things happening. So thanks everybody for what you do.
Thomas?
Oh, yeah, I echo Mckinnon. It was a great visit. Lots of parents could turn out. It was nice to get out there and see some familiar faces. Hats off to Phil Harder. What a passionate hard worker he is. And he's built an amazing program. Welcome, Danny. Your first official one sitting in the chair, I think.
Yep.
Washington, I think, we know what you face over there. And it's amazing what you've accomplished, the programs you offer, and to be the Blue Ribbon School, hats off. That's amazing. Steve Lake, we were going to come visit you on the roof that day, but the wind was blowing, and we said no, you're just on your own. So, anyway, my wife really wanted to come and say hi, but I said, no, it's blowing too hard. Anyway, and just hats off to this district. I mean, our test scores are up. This is just a great place to be. And it starts with leadership with our superintendent and those in central office, to our principals and teachers and custodians. So it's just a great place to be.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. Craig?
Well, I would like to congratulate everybody from almost making it through the 9 weeks. We have got a quarter of the year done on Friday. It's hard to believe as fast as it's gone. And like great athletes say, we only see 10% of what they do. And with the buildings this year are a credit to everybody in the building. It's a great, I don't want to sound like a hippie, but it's a great vibe in every building. You see lots of good things going on. It's good to see. I'd also like to give kudos to the Southwest Manufacturing Partnership, Southwest Wyoming Manufacturing Partnership. I go to those meetings monthly. They are great steward or great ambassadors for education in our area. Some of the things that they are doing to help us be more innovative in education is quite remarkable, and their support of our schools in Rock Springs and Green River is remarkable. And we went to a manufacturing day, 1,100 students. I think we had 700 of those 1,100, and they did an outstanding job with that.
Yeah, and I think the mayor mentioned to me this morning about the same kind of thing, that how the manufacturing folks in Sweetwater County are just not offering high-paying jobs. They are living in our community and care about our community, which is important. And if there's somebody can magically drop 1,000 homes in Green River, I think we're going to probably need them here real soon. I just wanted to mention that I did get a note from Kelly, our attorney, and I think I forwarded this to you guys. I can't remember. In an 8-5 vote, the JEC, the Joint Education Committee, passed a motion forwarded by Representative Albert Summers to recommend the following ECA, external cost adjustment for the upcoming 23-24 school. Amazing, huh? 12.75% for education materials, 27.82% for energy, both subject to adjustment to account for additional information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 4.254% for professional labor, and 5.377% for non-professional labor. The labor categories are the sum of the indices for this school year 22-23 and 23-24. The approved motion further included the requirement that the 22-23 external cost adjustment for materials and supplies be sustained and the ECA for 23-24 be applied on a cumulative basis. The cost, and what did you say they had in coffers?
500 billion.
Billion, that's with a B. The cost, the JAC, is 70 million, which is still 20 million shy of the underfunded figure of 90 million for 23-24. At least the legislature is talking about it, but I don't want to go there too much. I just thought I'd bring that up, share that with you. That came from our attorney. Congratulations to Washington. My son actually started at Washington in kindergarten because it was I was in that area, but it also was the first school to offer full-day kindergarten in Green River. I don't know if you knew that, but it's the first one. So I was pretty happy about Pat being out of my hair for the full day. And so he got his start there, and he's a nice young man. So I think you guys did good, even though none of you were there that long ago. Phil Harder, 13-1 season. Tom, you know how hard it is to go through a whole season and come back and say, I went 13-1. Some coaches have gone undefeated, and I won't go there, but 13-1 is pretty impressive. And I had a chance with Craig and some other members of the community to go watch our volleyball team on Saturday at Green River High School. And there were a lot of kids there, a lot of students cheering them on. Cody was probably not the one I should have went and watched. That team is very good, very good. Anyway, the girls play at home Thursday, right, Tony? Against Evanston, a team we beat in Evanston, I believe. So if you can get out and support the girls volleyball team, appreciate it. 6 o'clock, I believe, Thursday. And the under level kids are in there too at 3, 4, 5. So yeah. And I got to congratulate Isabel Salas. I mean, what she's done on the golf course is better than any golfers here can do, including you, Dr. Foose. But that's pretty cool. 3-time All-State player, and she's probably going to get 4-time next year. That's pretty neat. When are student conferences? What is it?
Next week.
What's the date?
It's all week, depending on the building.
Okay, all right. And those are in the building? They come in? Okay, cool. Somebody was asking about it. I wasn't sure. That's all I have. We do not have an executive session tonight. Oh, I had one other thing. I apologize. I handed out the board self-evaluation. Yes, we are going to evaluate ourselves. And it's from the Wyoming School Boards Association. The other one they had, I kind of like this one better. And so if you would fill this out next couple of weeks, get it to Craig. Craig, Jason, and Alan are going to meet with us at 5:30 on the next school board meeting, which is November 8th. That's election day, by the way. At 5:30, we'll meet here. We'll go over the results of this evaluation. And I asked those three to come up with some scenarios on what we may need to work on a little more or what we're doing very well. And we can talk about it as a board, kind of a team building thing. Is everybody good with that?
Yep.
November 8th at 5:30. So give yourself a couple of weeks to fill this out and get it into Craig, and he'll tabulate everything. Okay. Appreciate it. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thanks for your attendance tonight. Appreciate it.
Good job.